As you can see, signs like this are up all over the town. I've stopped at one gas station, walked inside to use the restroom, and there were people inside talking about it. This is what everyone is talking about in this town, the proposed construction of a 1,800 acre AI data center in rural North Carolina. Hi. What was that? Oh no, I'm just doing a story on the AI data center that they're building here. No, I'm all good. I'm all good. Thank you for checking though. Stopped here on the side of the road and this lady just stopped to check and see if I'm okay. A lot of very kind people out here. I appreciate that a lot. All right, I think I have the location correct. Right across the street here is where they're building the 1,800 acre AI data center. How very fitting is it that here in the distance of where they're building the AI data center, you can see the power plant. So this literally just got approved last night on my 30th birthday. The Stokes County Board of Commissioners voted 3 against 2 to approve the construction of this AI data center. And ironically, from what I've heard, I cannot confirm this is true. I don't live in Stokes County, although we are about 30 minutes away from where I live. Those 3 that voted for the construction of this are not up for re-election this year. So I think that just goes to show how much they care about their community. But whether you like it or not, whether you're against it, whether you're for it, this is kind of inevitable. You know as well as I do that AI is progressing at a faster and faster rate. And I think this just goes to show the impact that this is going to have on all of us. I've made multiple videos about AI within the past year, 2 years, and how AI will never replace me as a photographer. And while I still believe that, I still think it's true, there are many, many ways that AI is still going to have a big impact on my photography, how I take photos, how I edit photos, and the photos I actually take. So AI is going to have a big impact on every aspect of this, but I'm just a very small piece of it. This 1,800 acre data center is going to have a big impact on the entire surrounding community. Like I mentioned earlier, I just crossed into town and I stopped at a gas station to get some gas, used the restroom, and I walk inside and there were already people talking about it. And here in these rural communities, it is a lot of older people who don't really understand computers and don't really understand exactly what is going on. I told the older lady working at the gas station that I was in town to do a story on this, and she started asking me a bunch of questions. She started asking me questions like, is this going to bring a lot of jobs to the area? Are they going to be building a lot of new houses and neighborhoods? Which some people could see as a good thing. Other people will see that as a bad thing. Here in North Carolina, there are a lot of people moving from other states like Florida, New York, California, all over the US here to North Carolina because of lower cost of living. And even that is slowly rising here. And even in the area that I grew up and have lived most of my life, it is a semi-rural area, but not so much anymore. Every open field that was near my house is now a neighborhood. And it's incredibly sad to see, but that's kind of just the way things are going to have to be. It is inevitable. And I think as photographers, it is important for us to photograph and document this inevitability. I love photographing places that have not been updated or renovated or might be abandoned or haven't changed in 30, 40, 50 plus years. And even in just my 30 years here on this earth, I've seen a lot of things change. Many of the places that I grew up going to as a kid are not there anymore. They are long gone, like Toys R Us, Kmart. They no longer exist. Now, those aren't exactly the kinds of places I would probably be photographing now, but in retrospect, I probably would have if I could have. Now, when I was at Sony Condo back in 2024, I was having a conversation with Cam Mackey which I'm sure many of you guys know and watch his videos, we were trying to put a label on what you would call my style of photography. It's not exactly landscape. I do some landscape, I do some street photography, and we kind of ended up on calling it Americana photography. But I feel like that puts my photography in too small of a box. And as I've done my research on other photographers and learned a lot more, I think the proper definition or category that I could place my style of photography in, it would have to be documentary photography. Because even in just my 10 years as a photographer, so 1/3 of my life I've been taking photos, things have changed quite a lot. What are your thoughts on everything going on?
I live on the other side of the river.
Uh-huh.
Do you work for the company?
No. I just make YouTube videos. So I'm just kind of investigating things.
A lot of people don't know this, but the Sora Indians, you've heard about them.
Yes. I know this is very historic land for them, if I'm not mistaken.
And I don't know whether they've thought about this, the data center people has thought about this or not, but it is a felony to tamper with grave sites. That's the law, and I'm sure there's several grave sites in there.
Oh, there has to be probably marked, unmarked, everything,
Yeah.
everywhere. Mm-hmm.
And my opinion is, I'm not for it.
Yeah.
I just think it's disrespectful.
I agree completely. So all of this land here and all of this land over here, this will become part of the data center. It's starting to feel like I'm filming a Peter Santinello video. This has been a very eye-opening adventure. All right, this video's gotten a little bit off topic, but that's okay. I had a very nice time chatting with that man. I spoke to him for probably about an hour and a half. We got interrupted by some of the people that I think may be responsible for the data centers. And then later on, we moved to another location, started talking, and another man pulled up, and we were talking to him, and he's in support of the data centers. So it was interesting. I got to see all three different sides, the people against it, the people for it, and potentially the people responsible for it. But in the process of that, I kind of forgot where I was in filming this video. So I had to come back here, start editing the video, then figure out where I was and pick up where we left off. So I've got a couple books here that I want to show you guys. First one we're gonna start with is from it's a photo book from one of my favorite photographers that I don't think I've spoken about too much on this channel, but a lot of you will probably know, and maybe you'll see the similarities between some of the photos we take, between the photos I post here on my YouTube channel or maybe over on Instagram. And that is Stephen Shore. And this is one of my favorite photo books that I own. This is Uncommon Places. Now, I think one of my favorite things about Stephen Shore is that on a surface level, a lot of his photographs appear as very simple. But when you start looking closely, they're actually very complex and layered. And I think his photos are the epitome of the cliche saying of, what is it? A photo's worth 1,000 words or something like that. But when I look at his photos, they always amaze me. And this specific photo book is mainly a collection of photos from the 1970s. Now, this photo in particular is one of my favorites because there are so many different elements in it that you can see that are such a stark contrast to many of the things we have today. You look at the cars, and obviously they are completely different. You look at the style of the clothes that people are wearing, and you look at the signs and all the advertisements on the buildings. And this is what I hope to accomplish one day with my own photography. I want people to be able to look at my photos and not necessarily to be in awe of, wow, how amazing of a photo this is. But I want people to look at it and be intrigued or fascinated by the subject and just the entire scene that I've captured inside the photograph and be able to compare the differences from things, the cars, the buildings, whatever in the photograph to how it appears now, today, or in the future. Which leads me to the second book I want to show you guys. Now, I picked this up at Barnes & Noble. Chances are pretty much any Barnes & Noble you go to, there will be a small section of books history books or historic photo books about the local area or region that the Barnes & Noble is located in. But this one is about Winston-Salem, and it's called Vintage Postcards. But it's just different photographs of places around Winston-Salem. And I love looking at these photos and being able to see just how much has changed. And even the roads that I drive and the sidewalks that I walk every single day, I don't even recognize them, because just in the span of 60 to 100 years, things have changed so incredibly much. And I really hope that one day, 50, 100 years from now, my photos will be in a book just like this about Winston-Salem or wherever else I happen to be photographing and traveling to. Because even in just the past 10 years that I've been a photographer, so many things here in Winston-Salem have changed. So many locations that I loved photographing just 5 years ago no longer exist in the same form or way I enjoyed photographing them before, and the photo making potential of those areas is just no longer there. Now, one of my favorite pastimes when I am extremely bored is going on Google Street View. And up in the top left corner, if you're on desktop, you can select the different dates. So I love to go through and see how places have evolved and changed over time in just, the span of like 15, almost 20 years. You can go to 2007 on a lot of places here in Winston-Salem, and they are completely unrecognizable. The block where my old studio was located that I moved out of about a year ago, if you go to 2007 or even 2014, it looks completely different around there. So I guess in response to myself and labeling myself as a documentary photographer, I don't think I actually want to, because in a way I think all of us photographers are documentary photographers, whether we realize it or not. And pretty much anyone who has a phone with a camera on it could become a documentary photographer. You never know what photos could end up being in these style history books or vintage postcard books, depending on whatever you want to call it. Now, I know I've mentioned a lot of things that could potentially be relatable in this video, but if you are a photographer, I know every single one of you watching this video can relate to this, because it seems like almost every single day I drive past something that I wish I would have stopped to take a photo of, whether I had my camera with me or not. Maybe you didn't stop because there was no clear or easy pull-off place to stop and park your car and jump out and take a photo, or maybe it wasn't safe. But personally, I have so many moments like that I really regret that I will probably never be able to go back and photograph that place again, whether because the light changed or that car is no longer parked there, or there's something else there instead now. And while the photos I took earlier of that field with the power plant in the background and the steam coming out of the smokestack, while that was not technically a super interesting photo, I'm willing to bet that 6 months to a year from now, to definitely 5-10 years from now, that photo will not be possible ever again. So while that photo you took might seem a little not portfolio worthy, kind of insignificant, maybe you didn't even bother editing it. Maybe it felt that way now, but you never know how people could receive that photo 50 to 100 years from now to, hundreds of years from now, which is crazy to think about. But yeah, this is just something that's really been on my mind, especially since I turned 30 yesterday. I feel like I'm getting old, but I know I still have a long ways to go and a lot more photos to take. So thank you for watching this video. This is the first video of 2026. And if you guys could like the video and subscribe to help support the channel, I would greatly appreciate it. If you want to become a member of the channel to see videos just like this one early, that's also very much appreciated. In the meantime, I hope I could inspire you guys to get out and take more photos. Go out and shoot.